Hey folks, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter Langan and absolutely delighted to have you here. So today in the video, I'm going to be running through the GAP IID tool, the pros and cons of having it and the different functions that you can actually undertake on your vehicle. But if you're enjoying this video and enjoying this channel, please do subscribe and give us a like. It lets us know that we're making the right videos, the right content for you guys, and it really is appreciated. All right, let's jump into the presentation. First things first, who is this for? This video is for Land Rover owners. Like, reality is you do not need a GAP tool if you do not have a Land Rover or a Range Rover. So that is the first check. I'm going to run through how I've used it over the past number of years of Land Rover ownership. GAP tools are great for someone who wants to understand and modify their vehicle. Reality is if you're not going to be doing any of this, if you're going to just send it straight to the mechanic, likely it's not for you. But if you want to actually get under the hood, as it were, and start making changes and modifying things and understand how things work, GAP tool 100% would be recommended. And again, kind of makes sense. DIYers, people that like to work on their vehicles themselves, the GAP tool is a perfect addition to your vehicle. So who am I? I'm Peter. I'm a Land Rover owner, as I said, and I've been driving and repairing my Land Rovers for many, many years. Okay, so the tool is brilliant for diagnostics. It can help you uncover any number of faults that are actually occurring in your vehicle at any given time and pinpoint pretty accurately what the problem is. That's something that a lot of tools can do, but the advantage of the IID tool is that you can actually go a little bit deeper than just the standard diagnostics, but it's worth bearing in mind it can do that. Customization. So the tool allows you to customize your vehicle, like enabling or disabling certain features. I've used this myself to enable headlight delay on my 2008 Range Rover TDV8 and also enable auto locking when I pull off. This I can do within the CCF file with the IID tool. So CCF is car configuration file. Also, we can program certain features. So the tool allows us to program the car to tell it like new components were fitted or replaced. I've used this to reflash my suspension ECU from Hitachi to AMK when it was replaced. The garage had replaced the compressor with the previous owner and it was just throwing a fault, and I had a fair idea this was because the flash was not actioned, and sure enough it wasn't. I actioned it and the fault went away. So that's one of the advantages of having an IID tool. I can nearly guarantee you could bring your vehicle to a garage and they wouldn't have the necessary tools to actually do that. So it was great me having that myself. Monitoring, this is really handy. So the tool allows you to monitor in real time, like nearly everything that's going on in the car, like all the hundreds, if not thousands of sensors that are recording data all the time. You can monitor these and compare them side by side. And it allows you to identify problems that otherwise might be very difficult to uncover. I use this on a 3.6 TDV8 to identify a faulty injector based on the actual pressure readings that the tool was gathering. Those readings actually meant that I knew which injector to replace and actually enabled the car to start again. It wasn't starting because of this faulty injector. I've also used it to identify a faulty torque converter based on when it was locking up and a vibration coming into the car. That was all using that tool. So let's jump into the tool and let's have a look at how it actually functions in real life. What we're looking at right now is the main menu for the GAP IID tool when you're using it on your mobile phone. Now you can use it with your iPad or with the majority of Bluetooth enabled devices like Android, but I use it on my mobile phone. Now, what I usually go to first is the very top menu, fault, and I just do a scan. Now this is a demo, so we actually mightn't find anything. I don't think we will. Yeah, let me see, scanning modules here. Let's have a look. It'll just scan through the modules, and if there's a problem, it will identify it. Okay, so here's some false problems. So you can see, you can click into the problem. You can actually see exactly what was wrong, when it actually happened. So the kilometers in this case, and any issues. And if we want to clear them, we just click clear, and that's the faults gone. We can clear all here, and the faults are gone. We can also click show all ECUs, and we can just scroll down and see, what's fitted, what's not fitted, and then if there's faults in any of the specific ECU. So very, very handy. Then we have heights. That allows us to adjust the height of the vehicle, like suspension, the air suspension, and calibration here. We can calibrate certain modules and parts of the vehicle. So steering angle, suspension, very handy. I've used this, so I've calibrated the suspension based on making sure the road heights are set correctly. I've often seen older vehicles with the suspension heights have just gone out over time. Maybe someone changed the height sensor and it just was off slightly and drives much better. So something I actually recommend everyone doing, making sure the vehicle is right at normal height, and then that puts it right for off-road height and for access height. Again, also the parking brake, we can do this. We can service the parking brake, and then the brake module there, the APS, so that's just for bleeding the brakes. All right. Let me see what else we got here. Service and test. So again, these are very handy for testing certain functions of the vehicle again. So we've got, like, you know, auxiliary heaters. So in Discovery 3, for example, and possibly 4 in other vehicles, you can turn on the auxiliary heater and test it out here. Ventilation again, instrument pack, tests all the lights and the gauges, test the parking brake, test different functions on the suspension. Let's click into that there. Yes, so here we can see, like, we can test valves, we can test, we can deflate the reservoir, we can deflate the actual vehicle itself. We can set it in different modes, so normal mode for day-to-day and tight tolerance for, like, really, really, I want to say, like, fussy. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. We'll go back further here now. So again, live values. So live values is very handy because we can actually go in now and we can actually trigger, like, you know, different components without actually pressing a button. And then also we can actually go here and we can view certain data from the vehicle. Again, another really good one is car config. Now this is the car configuration file. You go into this to basically reprogram the car. For example, if you had a standard audio system, you can use this to upgrade it to the logical 7, if it's Discovery 3 or maybe 4, or Range Rover Sports or whatever vehicle. You can use this to enable daytime run lights. You can use it to enable headlamp delay, like I've done. You can use it automatic locking. You can also use it, and what's really handy is, for example, on my vehicle, the tire pressure monitoring system wasn't working, and I used the CCF just to basically say it's not fitted. That got rid of the light in the dash, and I don't mind. It's gone, but I'm happy the problem is gone. So you can use this to basically change anything on the car when you're fitting new components or upgrading different specs. One thing worth bearing in mind is when you're upgrading the CCF file, make sure your vehicle has a good battery, because if you get this wrong and the battery goes flat when you're in the middle of an upgrade, you know, it could make the vehicle undrivable. In fact, it nearly will. So make sure that the battery is well charged, okay? And finally down there, you can actually see ECU flash. I was able to identify that I had the wrong firmware fitted for the suspension compressor that was in my vehicle, and I was able to reflash, and that fixed the problem. So overall, that is like a quick run through of what the IID tool can do for you. I would really recommend getting one. If I have any Land Rover, I always pair it to one of my IID tools, and it solves those little problems that would be big problems if you didn't have access to this tool. And ultimately, if you were to go to a dealership or to a repairer or a mechanic to get this work done, if they did have access to the tools, they would charge you dearly. You'd be better off buying the GAP tool. So I wholeheartedly recommend it. I have no affiliate link, but if you found this review helpful, leave the comments down below. If there's anything else you want me to make a video on, please do. We have lots of videos planned on all our Land Rovers, on Julie's new Discovery 3, on Stephen's Discovery 3, my Range Rover TDV8, and some of the classics. Lots coming up. So make sure to subscribe and like the video. We really do appreciate it. Talk soon, folks.